What's going on, guys? It's Rob from Heroes Avenue, and the time has come. The speculation is over. We finally got our DCU slate delivered by James Gunn himself. If you check his Twitter, he posted up a video in which he talked about each of the things we're going to talk about in a second. And it's surprising in a lot of different ways. So off the bat, I will say this is not a complete reboot, which is super surprising to me. I thought a complete reboot was probably the best way to get most people on board. You're never going to get all of the fandom on board because of getting the fact that you got rid of some beloved characters like Henry Cavill. But it leaves the door open for sure for a lot of things. But let's talk about it. What is rebooted? What's not rebooted? I'm not going to play James Gunn's video here, but I'm gonna skip a lot of the text on Variety. So Dave Bautista yesterday gave us kind of a taste that it would be a full reboot, except it's not. So we were throwing a curveball yesterday. I didn't cover it, but Dave Bautista did say it would be a full reboot, except they're probably just rebooting the main Trinity. So we're gonna talk about it. Yeah, well, let's talk about it. So, excuse me. Superman Legacy is going to be the biggest announcement out of here. We all knew he was writing a Superman movie. Still up in the air if he was going to direct it, so let's look at it. It says, set to open July 11, 2025. Superman Legacy will mark the start of the DCU, as Safran put it, but it's not going to be an origin story of the Man of Steel, except it focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He's the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. Gunn is writing the project, and Safran still hopes Gunn can be persuaded, perhaps to direct as well. Oh, great. Gunn is sitting right next to Safran, reminding and remained uncharacteristically poker face in response. So, to me, it sounds like they're bringing Superman back towards how he was perceived under the Christopher Reeve version of Superman. I'm sure there'll be some new elements that's added, but for a lot of fans of Henry Cavill and his Man of Steel, looks like they're going totally away from that, especially since it's going to be focused on early Superman, and that was one of the things I was most disappointed with. Again, I'm going to give it a chance. What more can we do at this point? If you're a Superman fan, you're going to watch it. So yeah, James Gunn directing though. I know he's a big Superman fan, but um, I don't know if I want him to direct. Writing, okay. Do I want him to direct? I think I would like to see someone else direct, but we all know Peter Safran has been wanting James Gunn to direct Superman for a long time. So it says CEO David Zaslav made no secret that rebooting Superman was a top priority for the company as he spent much of 2022 searching for the right leaders for DC Studios. Skipping down to Superman is for everyone, Gunn said. It's a 4-quadrant film that should speak to everyone in the world. That's what Patty Jenkins said about Wonder Woman 1984, basically, and that turned out not so well. So I'm hoping it's good. Um, I'm hoping at some point later on, Cavill could come back. I will say, actually, I'll speak on the beginning of James Gunn's video. He talked about keeping the 4 movies that are coming out next year in the actual canon of the universe. He says Shazam, since it's already been in its own pocket, could still be used. Basically, Henry Cavill wasn't used in the first Superman, leaves it, or in the first Shazam movie, it was the headless Superman, as we all know. Kind of leaves it open for James Gunn Superman to play around in that area. So when Zachary Levi kind of went on Instagram Live like a couple months ago or a few weeks ago and said, I'm safe, and everyone was surprised and worried, especially because he's been drumming up some controversy online lately. That's why. He knew he was going to be safe. And who else is going to be safe? At least the Flash movie, since it reboots the universe, apparently. It's no secret now, they gave away the ending. It does reboot the universe, and it probably leaves it open too, but that's the avenue that James Gunn's going to use to kind of restart the DCU. Um, and then things like Blue Beetles kept safe, and we'll probably talk about some of them later because I haven't read this whole article. I haven't even glanced at it really. But he did announce a lot of new things, like this right here, the Authority. Um, it's an ensemble movie about superhumans who have less than idealistic approach to saving the world. I'm not familiar with The Authority, um, but it comes from Wildstorm, which was launched in 1992 as an independent entity under DC Comics chief Jim Lee, and ultimately made an imprint of DC. Wildstorm characters were later folded into the main DC universe. So let's see. As a comic, The Authority was created by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch as an ends to justify the means superhero team. The approach that appealed to Gunn and Safran's desire to diversify the storytelling within the DCU. So it says it isn't just a story of heroes and villains. It's not every movie and TV show is going to be about good guy versus bad guy. Gunn said there are people that are very questionable, like the Authority, who basically believe that you can fix the world in an easy manner, and they take things into their own hands. So it says, Saffron, they're kind of like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. They know what you want them on the wall. They know that you want them on the wall, or at least believe that. Gunn said the film is being written now, but declined to say who's the screenwriter. So again, he's gonna. This is the he made some surprising choices as some of the first projects being announced. So really, really surprising. And I don't think anyone expected this. The Brave and the Bold, really good choice probably for incorporating Batman. I'll read some of this. Along with introducing DCU's version of Batman, who will exist separately from the version played by Robert Pattinson in the Batman movies, The Brave and the Bold will introduce the Bat family, Gunn said. First among them is Robin, who will return fully to live action movies for the first time since 1997. Yeah, and he's gonna bring Damian into the fold, which I I think is gonna be really entertaining probably. Skipping out on Dick Grayson, that means we can introduce him as Nightwing into the movies later on. I think this is a good move. So he says this version of Robin is Damian Wayne. Gunn described him as our favorite Robin, a little son of a bitch, an assassin, and a murderer. Damian is Bruce Wayne's biological son, a fact unknown to Wayne for the first 8 to 10 years of Damian's life. It's a very strange sort of father-son story about the two of them. So, yes, I think this is good. One of the things I really like about it. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, based on Tom King's run from 2021 to 2022. So he teased this on Instagram. He just posted a picture of this, and he basically told us that this was going to be part of the slate. Whether or not Sasha Calle is going to play Supergirl still is up in the air, but since The Flash is kind of staying canon, I imagine they're going to want to keep the director, Andy Muschietti, in-house, and they're going to keep Sasha Calle, which is kind of crazy. But good for her. Good for her. We don't know how her performance is going to be as of yet. Um, so yeah, let's go through this. Swamp Thing. So Swamp Thing is a character that was brought to life in a TV show. I didn't watch it because I knew it got canceled right away, so I never really got invested, and I have never been invested in the Swamp Thing comics. There's a cult following, so I think this is probably a cool thing. But on the TV side of things, just gonna quickly go through these Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos, I am so launched in the 1980s. James Gunn is really a big fan of these more obscure DC characters, and that is, I don't have much to say about Creature Commandos. Waller. So Suicide Squad is going to be kept canon. So Amanda Waller is going to be teaming up with some of the Peacemaker characters in this Waller TV show. So no big surprise at this point. He's going to keep his DC characters. It's going to infuriate some of the fans for sure. But I think we would all agree Amanda Waller is great, played by Viola Davis. I should have said that earlier. So yeah, he teased this as well on Twitter. And then lastly, this is something that's a little bit different than we thought. Lanterns is going to be a TV series on HBO Max, and it's going to focus on both Hal Jordan and John as in a True Detective style TV show. That was a really cool thing to say. The fact that he called it a True Detective style TV show, because True Detective is amazing, and in the context of the Green Lantern universe, could be amazing as well. Paradise Lost, another cool thing. He calls this a Game of Thrones-ish story, um, taking place on Themyscira. So this is where he's probably going to introduce Wonder Woman through a TV show. That's going to be crazy because everything's going to be interconnected at this point from James Gunn. And Booster Gold, lastly, Booster Gold finally announced. We always had a rumor that this was going to be a project in the works. Booster Gold's probably going to be um, a great way, and it diversifies the offerings from DC a lot because this is a character we've never seen. So this is a great way to make a first impression. I think Booster Gold's a cool character. So yeah, just wanted to give my quick thoughts on this DCU slate. A little surprised, very surprised actually, that it's not a full on reboot. It was always hard to imagine that he'd cancel out the DC characters that he's worked with already and actors like Margot Robbie or whatever. So we'll see. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think about the slate. How surprised are you? What projects are you most excited about? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks, guys. Good to see you guys again. See you later. Peace.